Hello and welcome to this playthrough of Factorio, where I am building a megabase on Earth. I am using a mod, Cities of Earth, focusing on the Old World Hemisphere. My goal is to reach 10,000 science per minute with a rail-based design. The resources are set to maximum size and density, and biters and pollution are turned off. The mod list is shown in the description, as well as a link to my Twitch channel, High Speed. Please come visit me there. Questions and comments are welcome. Thank you for watching. Hello. This is good. So what we're going to start doing is moving science. I might not actually do this. I might not need the science for that. Because when I looked at the military, I was missing stuff and it would require extra work. So I don't know. So part of the challenge here is that this is going to require 145 smelters for iron. And I only have 144 in a block. So part of the question would be, if I would look at my more modern iron smelters, can I add one more row without causing problems? So my output is full. Mango. Blue Belt Manufacturing. It's just a production stack. I have multiples of them. The way that my production stacks work is I have a combinator that tells how many to make. I gotta shut this whole thing off so I have good performance. So yellow to red to blue, yellow to red to blue, yellow to red to blue. I had a lot of problems with performance with these underbelts. And I'm also recycling yellow and red underbelts here. I think I have this music too loud. Maybe. How's there? I'm doing well. So, Mango, if you don't know how my production stacks work, I have a combinator here that has negative numbers that tell me how many to make. And then each inserter for a item I want to produce has got a check against that value. So this inserter is wired to network 4586, and its storage chest is wired to that same network, as well as that combinator. So it's a production stack. It's a pretty simple three-piece thing. If we extract out how it works, get rid of all the extra stuff and look at only what's going on here. So that's how that works. Let me know if that leaves you with any questions, Mango. I am having issues with not enough lube on this build, so I need to redesign how I'm doing lube. Because what I've had to do a couple times is remove these tanks and let them refill or clear them out, because I didn't anticipate this much of a need for lubricant. So I don't have enough lube, and I don't have room to add more. So it's kind of a challenging spot. I've thought about it, but this factory has basically been a workhorse and a half. It's an amazing piece of kit. I'm just surprised how well it does. I've had to supplement it with speed modules and prod modules. I could have probably added them here, but yeah, the underbelts have been a challenge. And I think I've had to add inserter production. And, well, you can look at the ones that are just sort of hanging out here. Here's where it's fallen down. I didn't have a rocket silo. I didn't have speakers, and clearly I didn't have enough pipes, but that was all for this. Right? So nuclear power, I underestimated how much. So if I were to re-engineer these sort of things, what I would do is, first off, I would not make, well, first off, I'd make more lube. Secondly, I wouldn't bother to make underbelts and belts. I just let the bots take them over there and let this, because this is doing nothing now, and it's got the ability to recover these. So I could just change these to buses and then simplify this by taking all these out and just have double blue, double blue, double blue production, or triple blue because I need so much belt. I just have multiples of those, but I would need a lot more lube production. Like, I think this stack actually needs, just one of these needs 7 lube plants, and I've only got a total of 10. So yeah, I'm gonna be perpetually short on lube. So I should redo this. Hi, Smokin'. Yeah, gears are not really a problem in this regard because I've got plenty of gear manufacturing in this. I mean, I've got dedicated gear production here, and I've got a supportive. I think I've got supporting gear production somewhere else. I've got, okay, gear production for engines. So yeah, this is a lot of gears, but again, we're working on what's the 10% that I need, because these are only supposed to run at 10% capacity. That's all I really need them to do. That's what they're designed to do. So I'm short on gears for 1 stack, and I've got 2 stacks. So yeah, when I added these, I should have added more gears. Smokin'. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the sub. It's very kind of you. Yes, Tuesday is my day off. I need a day off. And Wednesday's a half day. And probably when I go back to work, Wednesdays will become days off too. So I'll have Tuesdays and Wednesdays that I have to take off. Tuesdays because I have mentors at night, and Wednesdays because I have another commitment at night. So that's the reality. So what I was looking at was, can I expand this at all? And it's not looking good because I have 144 here, and to support all of red production that I want to support, red science and green science production, I need 145, I think is what it comes down to. Because that 144 is 43.4K. So 43.4. So I don't have iron there, so what I need to do is just keep adding on to this until I get... So I need 40,000 in gears. Yeah. And now I need the green circuits. One, two. That would suck to run short. So I would technically have to run, well, I might be able to get away with that, but that's 109,000, and this is producing 43,000. So, yeah. So the question is, I consider moving red and green out. How big does my support need to be for those two? And it tells me that I need 148 red furnaces, or steel furnaces, iron furnaces, which is unfortunate. Hi, Colonel Will. Thanks for stopping in. Well, the MegaBase is doing okay. All of my designs are working, and I've actually hit some great production numbers. And I'm happy with how it performed for the most part. Eagle Wolf? Yes, new logo. Airbus created a logo for me. Thank you, Major Mayhem. Yeah, the logo came from Airbus. He commented that my other logo was kind of hard to tell whether I was online or offline. And I said, well, you know, I'm not an artist. I just screenshotted something I created here in Factorio. And then a couple hours later, in my inbox is the logo. I'm like, awesome. I'll use that. So, updated that today. But as far as production goes, so I have some issues here. Most of these were able to hit their 10K goal. But some of them fell off pretty bad. It turns out there was an issue with Purple Science, Production Science, in so much as it... these, when you see this, it means there's a delivery problem. Right? And Purple Science never hit it until I found there was a bug in one of the underbelts, and so I was losing a chunk of production. But this tells me that my trains aren't making it, right? And this one's really disappointing because it never actually, these didn't recover. And when we look at the layout that I'm using for science... down here in the Arabian Peninsula, I realized that I've just gotten too cute. And when it was all running, this was just a major traffic jam all in here. I originally put green and red science in here. And then I realized I needed more iron, so I put the iron and copper over here, and then I needed more green circuits, and so I ended up overloading this belt, and I've crammed things in too tightly. Yeah, yeah. Now, I didn't have that problem when it comes to my rocket silo complexes. I built these things as, like, air quotes, neighborhoods, right? So, ideally, the rail network could be completely isolated so that it has everything it needs. It has the iron and the copper and the oil and the stone, or and the coal that it needs to launch rockets. And it's got this little rocket or this little satellite facility here that just needs, these plate materials. Um, and um, and so this is working relatively well. I used to have this bot based. It took about 1,000 bots, and it just crushed my computer. I couldn't get any performance. So I re-engineered it to belts. And as a 4-rocket silo complex and building multiple of them around the world, I'm very happy with the performance. And what you and I were talking about earlier, Colonel Will, thank you for your commentary there, is, yeah, this unloader consistently, as we've pointed out, it's always pulling from the right-hand side, so it's consistently unloading these chests unevenly. What I realized in talking to chat and looking at the numbers is that let me set this so that we can see. What I realized is, well, inserters are taking up a good amount of time, and this goes as high as like 5 or 7 when the full base is going, and my FPS drops, like it is here, to like 30. But if I turn off time usage, I think, and put it at detailed, like hello, yes, new logo. Yeah, roll on 2.0. That's going to be fun. Let me see if I can get this correct so that we can see what I want to show. Something several people pointed out is that my circuit networks are massively sucking up time. And something you told me, Colonel Will, was your team, when you were looking at chests for unloading, let me go back to the same place. When you were looking at chests for unloading, you're only looking at the first chest. And I'm doing this overly complex thing because I thought I could tell the train to come in, look to see which wagon was empty, and if a wagon was empty, to request another, to send the train away and request a new train. So each of these is an independent stack, and each of them has their own set of combinators and their own set of balancers. And so that's eating a ton of CPU cycle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, based on our conversations and other people's input, is I'm going to switch this to remove the balancer, to remove the second train request, and to the second set of combinators. I'm going to statically assign the filter inserter values, and I'm going to only check the first chest. I'm going to check one chest on each side for how many trains I need, but I'm not going to check all of these. And my trains currently are programmed, and it's working beautifully. My trains are programmed to sit there until they're empty, till 90 seconds have passed, or they're inactive. Right? And what I've found is that these trains need about 73 seconds to unload. Right? This one's unloading quite quickly because it was probably mostly empty. But when I tested on an absolutely empty set of chests in a full train, it was 73 seconds using 4 inserters and 4 chests. So, and like you just pointed out, every wire hooked to it has overhead. So I have these lamps that tell me things, and they're more debugging than they are anything else to tell me if things are working. But I'm past the debugging point. I know here now what's working and what doesn't, what needs attention. So I'm going to be stripping this down and simplifying it. And all that's just going to take time and some effort. and a whole lot of recycling. So I've got a good amount of travel time between my production area and my work area. So I'm going to be setting up in this area like a staging area where I can set a couple of trains that just come here and dump things off, so that I can collect these local resources and then have trains that bring me what I need. And I'll probably use bots to do that because it's going to be transitory. But yeah, I'm going to be simplifying this quite a bit, and I'm also of the opinion that I've got a new design here for green circuits. Right now I'm doing this, the part that's really bugging me is this copper cable to green circuits. I was trying to follow a philosophy that said everything goes on a train. Right? So the challenge there is that copper cable, there's a lot of it moving around. And again, it clogs the network. Yeah, I know. I was trying, like I said, I was trying to follow a philosophy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to, yes, Kazi, yes. That's what happens when you get deep into philosophy, is you do odd things. Maybe philosophy isn't the right word. Maybe it's ideology, and that's why it's close to idol. And idolizing, because it'll take you the wrong way. So I'm going to switch to this, and the limiting factor here on all of my things is what can a belt handle. Right? This isn't perfect yet. I still have some refining to do here. But what it really comes down to is where are the belts capped, and how many can I put there? Yeah, well, I actually have a red chip assembler in this satellite thing. I'm lucky on how things have worked out for me, but I actually have a red chip in a 12, right? So this is a 12 beacon, and I was able to come up with a 12 beacon red chip column that satisfies my requirements. So I could probably go with more. The challenge is getting the copper cable out of this assembler, because holy moly does this thing push the copper cable out. But I think I could extend this to be taller, and maybe I need to make more red chip assemblers to satisfy that. But then I'm not moving copper cable at all. And if I'm not moving copper cable at all, I think my life is easier. It's fewer trains. Right now I'm at 400 trains roughly, and to be honest, I'm happy with how this works. And if the only thing I were to do is to move red and green science out of here, I think it would probably reach 8K, maybe even 10K consistently, with a couple of other stylistic changes, like take this 4-way, move this down here so that I have a 3-way here. Take this, move it down here so that I have a 3-way down here. And if these are no longer here, and I'm no longer generating copper cable, I honestly think I could make this work at 10K, because it did it. It just ran out of it. You know, there's 3 ways to solve this: increase bandwidth, decrease requirements, or increase capacity. You know, adjust the intersection stuff. So I'm going to do those things, and I don't have to do the circuit thing. Oh yeah, I've got some mods that I could slow down if I wanted to as well. I mean, I've still got glowing trees running, and train trails. Train trails. I'm still running train trails, and I'm okay with that. You know, trains are 1.5 at 400 trains. So one of the other things that I wanted to do, if I were to start all over, I don't know what I was thinking. I absolutely love this design that I've got, where I take and I have the what I call let me find a good example. What I call a production column here. I absolutely love this design. I've got a 383 with trains in locomotives in between, And I know, Colonel, you've gone to a completely beltless design. But this 383 with a locomotive in between has given me this this wonderful situation where if this train were here, you can see the locomotive in between gives me the space to have 12 beacons down here without a bunch of belt pasta. And so I'm super happy with this design, and I absolutely love it, especially when I can create this, what I think is an appealing looking neighborhood. I'm trying not to do city blocks. I don't like city blocks. They're too boring. I don't like loops, so these do not cross over. So there is no loop here. This is the only horizontal full line. Other than that, it's all tree and branch design. And the traffic is all localized. The names are localized, so these are all Russia, and all the trains are local to Russia. And one of the benefits that gives me is that I can see how many iron trains I need. Yeah, no loops. And I have a spreadsheet that I've kept track of. What do I need? Right? And this is going to look like crap. You're not going to be able to see this very well, but a real quick turn on the screen here for Opera. And on the right-hand corner there, if it'll even show it. Nope, wrong button. Yeah, that one. You know, it was supposed to show it, but it's not. Properties. There it is. So I have this spreadsheet that tells me I calculated that my trains can unload 25,000 materials with a stack size of 100. 25,000 materials per minute. And if a train can unload 25,000 per minute with 4 inserters, then if something at a location needs more than 25,000, that's how many trains I need. It essentially is how it works out to. So that lets me mathematically decide how many trains go on the network for each item. So like, for example, steel. I have 1 steel train. Why? Because I only need to move 7,000 steel for this whole thing. And when it comes to, for example, copper. So I've got a lot of copper trains, 5 of them. Why? Because I need to move 115,000 copper in a minute. So I'm not guessing at, oh, this train looks, this looks busy. No, now, if it turns out that I need to add an X plus in order to satisfy travel time, but I've also got a relatively short travel time. These are pretty short. So I will figure out what my average travel time is and how it needs to be handled. One of the other things I need to figure out is, yes, Kazi. One of the other things I need to figure out is how I'm going to be requesting, how I'm going to be stacking. Right now I've got stackers on supply and deliver, or supply and demand. So these outposts have a stacker, right? 1 stacker. So these things, it's pretty obvious. When this thing has enough to load a train, it calls a train. When it has enough to load 2 trains, it calls 2 trains. But at the other side of the coin, I'm not going to look at that one because it's eye bleach. At the other side of the coin, these unloaders will call 1 train when there's enough to unload 1 train, and a second train when there's enough to unload the second train. But those are circuit networks, and we just discussed circuit networks cost time, and so I need to reduce that. So I'm still haven't worked out exactly how I want to handle that, because I also have on those things that make things, like the green circuits, it's really easy to say, okay, this is double full. Right? I really would like to have a system where it will call a second train when it's nearly empty, because I'm using it so much. But in practicality, that hasn't worked out, because I haven't needed that second train to be right there, because my travel times are relatively short. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to handle that part. If I'm going to keep the dual train, dual load. If I decrease the circuit things, the circuit demands, maybe it's okay that I keep the 2 train request set up. So all of these circuits let me dynamically request trains based on supply or based on demand and availability. So I don't have trains sitting there waiting, doing nothing. They could stack here to unload, but I've watched this thing run at full tilt, and I don't have, other than fluids, I don't have this situation where it's sitting here waiting. This is doing nothing because I'm not consuming petrol right now. But this doesn't happen very often, and it's pretty much only for fluids. So I've got too many of these trains, but I'm not making enough solid fuel, as I recall, or I'm not consuming enough because I've got rocket fuel. Yeah, rocket fuel doesn't need solid fuel right now because it's backed up, and so the result is that I have solid fuel trains that are just sitting, waiting to get consumed, and that's what stackers are for. So all in all, I'm very happy with the basic design. There's some things I need to do. Number one is I tried to be cute, make use of the Saudi Arabian Peninsula. That was a dumb move. See, there's an example of what I've got going on. I screwed the pooch on this. There's too much going on here in this small area because I've got petro coming through here. I've got green circuits and copper cables, and then there's all the other support services going through there. Unfortunately for Smokin', he's cornered the market on putting his name on all of the copper cable trains, and those are all going to get decommissioned. So he's probably going to hunt me down and drop me out of an airplane. So yeah, Smokin', I'm going to transfer all of your train labels to some other type of train, like maybe just copper. You'll just own the copper market, but there's not going to be a copper cable market at the end of this redesign. So step one is to set up an intermediate workstation area here. So let's get some of my spooters over here. Yeah, they are smoking. I was DMing with Airbus, thanking him for the new logo, and I made a comment about hopefully he wasn't flying a plane with extra doors. So I have to think about what I'm going to build here. There's a couple of things that are in my mind. If I'm going to move science, I'm going to end up with a bunch of extra science, right? Because all of these things are going to either get left behind or picked up. I'm not blowing that up. And this is where science is used. So what I'm likely to do is to extend the bot network a little bit here, temporarily. And making my life easier, I'll just delete that for a moment, is that if I temporarily join all these bot networks and then also connect it to what will be a drop-off station here, is that I'll put some sort of temporary intersection right there. And have a science unloader, have some sort of basically dumping ground here. And what that will do is give me the opportunity to have scrap trains running back and forth, unloading all of this stuff. Excuse me. So that I don't have to ruin it all. And then I'll put some sort of, requester chest for this stuff here. I'm going to have to figure out a new design strategy for this, and then implement it. And that means I need to figure out where I'm going to put these requesters. It has to be there because I'm merging these. That's bananas. So in this case, it's also where I played it smart, and I built this piece right near a teleporter, so I won't have such a horrible time going and supporting that. Might as well make this a 4-belt, or a 4-lane. So it's going to be a high traffic area, so I'm going to put a bunch of signals on it. Stricker, welcome. First time chat. I'm going to give you a hello. Doing the first playthrough, and I tore down my factory, reorganizing yours is just beautiful. Well, thank you. I've done a few factories, so after you've I don't think I launched a rocket my first 5 or 6 playthroughs because I kept reorganizing things, so. Just got Spidertron and going purging the area. Yeah. Kazi on the sandbox, I stopped. I actually didn't do much sandbox after I started this map. I got, to be honest, I got quite a bit of negative pushback about using the sandbox, so I stopped. And I've got the bandwidth now to just do it here. The sandbox is more theoretical. Once I got the wagon column, the column thing to work, I didn't really need the sandbox. Needed to see it work. I'm going to leave these crossovers here. They might serve value. That spider has some rails in it, so... Oh, these bots are fucking annoying. There's the lurk. And you're out of rail. Do this one. Twits. Why aren't you doing that one? What's wrong with this one getting done? Oh, Jesus. What, Jesus? Because there's a bot down there that thinks it might somehow do it someday if it ever could just get recharged. That is so terrible. Fucking hate spiders. I don't have enough rail for this, but I'll go back and get some more. Alrighty then. Manually drive this back. More rails. Alright, so I also need some roboports. And I've already got these other ones, and I'm gonna need some more Logibots. Probably more than that. So what I'll probably do is something like this, but I want it spread out more. Alright, so let me summon my minions up here because they're not going to be used down there. Let's make sure that you guys have everything you need by just sending you back. I'm going to send you up here and then have you disassembled. Yes, disassemble. All right, good. Got him. Spook. Get on the train. Take the train. I don't want Tabuk. I want Bam. Get on the train. Go over here, start building. Plus, plus. Back king. I like him. Oh, you guys are actually working. That's surprising. There we go. I think I'm all done now. That was painless. Okay, so the second half of this is to start building a complex of some sorts. So I need a 4x. Might as well go with a 4x2. I can go with a 4x2 short. We'll go just off of that. Oh yeah, 5 is just an empty thing. So I might as well take 5 down here. Because we're not going to do anything with 5 except that. You're out of rail, huh? Stuck? Yeah, you're not supposed to have a lot of it. I didn't anticipate that. That's unfortunate. Let's remove these and then place them again. And the power poles. Oops. I have a delivery visitor, so I will be back in just a few minutes. Okay, I'm back with a fresh monster. Give my kitty cat some belly rubs. Realized I ordered the wrong USB cable. I'm good.